You want healthy, glowing skin, but with all the products, trends, and conflicting advice, it's hard to know what actually works. I understand. I am Dr. Tina Meder, a former cardiologist and specialist in the skincare development and cosmetic safety expert. I've spent years studying the science of skin. Welcome to Meder Beauty podcast, where we uncover what really matters, break down the science, and give you real expert-backed skincare advice. Whether you're looking to achieve radiant, healthy skin, curious about anti-aging, or want to understand what's really in your product, you are in the right place. Rooted in science and the truth about what your skin actually needs, we'll have in-depth conversations with leading dermatologists, medical experts, and skincare brand founders to bring you the latest innovations, evidence-based insights, and industry secrets that truly make a difference. We are so happy you are here. So let's go. Pregnancy, it is a beautiful period of the female life. Indeed, that's some kind of magical things happening with your body. But in the same time, it is a period when women, they are very much worried about their life, about their safety, about their health, and especially about the health and the future of the baby they are carrying. And at some point, it starts to be even more worrying when people start to give you advice. Like, you should use it, or you should not use it. Are you sure it is safe for you? What you should eat, how you should behave, and in the last years, there are a lot of advices about the skincare. And what I really don't like in our beauty industry is some responsibility of the safety of the skincare. It just transferred on the shoulder of pregnant women. And literally the industry is saying, when you are pregnant, please do your own research to be sure that all skincare products you are using can be used safely and properly. Actually, there's not so much of limitation in the skincare during the pregnancy because, fortunately, there are not so many substances which can be potentially harmful for woman or for the baby or even for the skin health. But however, there are few of them. And my principle since the very beginning of the brand I launched in 2009 is if the skincare it's not safe enough to be applied on the skin of the pregnant woman, it is not safe. That's it. So me personally, I never used any of potentially harmful ingredients for pregnant women in our formulations. But that's no rule and no regulation which producers, brands, and laboratory to put some special warning on the packaging of the skincare products. Yes, you can see warning on some products based on the active form of retinol. I will come back to it later. But it's very rarely you can see some warning on another product. And it is important to know what kind of ingredients can be potentially unsafe so you can avoid it. But now, when I will start to explain all about ingredients, please do not be too much stressed about it. Because even if the ingredient it is potentially harmful, it doesn't mean it will harm your skin, your health. With some guarantees, very probably you will be absolutely safe. And also, when we are speaking about the exposure of the potentially harmful ingredients, we are speaking about the regular application of some products rich in these ingredients. So once you know about it, you just stop to apply it. That's it. Very probably you will know about it at the early stage of your pregnancy. So what should we limit during the pregnancy, speaking about the skincare? And later I will be back to some aesthetic medicine procedures and methods which can be more or less unsafe for pregnant women. First, ingredients which you should avoid once you know about your pregnancy, they are retinols. And actually, speaking about systemic retinols used for the acne treatment, for example, dermatologists and all doctors who prescribe retinol-based treatments such as Accutane or isotretinoin, tretinoin, or something else, always say about it to patients, and you should not plan the pregnancy during the period of the treatment. You should avoid to use retinol-based medication during the pregnancy. And it is the same about the skincare. Yes, skincare, it's not so dangerous because the danger of the retinol, it is unfortunately the malformation of the embryo of the baby. So it's mostly the baby suffering from the contact of this molecule. Retinol and retinoic acid, they are substances which are responsible for cells renewal in our body. And we need it. They are absolutely identical. They're circulating in our body since the very birth, controlling the renewal of skin cells, of intestine cells, and literally of all cells in our body. But embryo and baby development is already related to very intense cells renewal and cells proliferation. So some additional dose of retinol can be unsafe and can be very harmful. When you take the retinol systemically, when we speak about the medication of retinol, the dosage of retinol is quite high. When we apply retinol-based product on our skin, first of all, it's very small amount of the retinol which is penetrating deep enough to be able to penetrate into the bloodstream. So you're exposed on the very low dosage of the retinol itself, even if you apply this product. But still, it can increase the risk for the baby in the future. So it's officially recommended. Do not use any kind of retinol-based skincare product during the pregnancy, and if you are planning pregnancy, it's always better to stop use retinol-based product in this planning period. But you should know that retinol and retinol derivative ingredients, they are not equal. So the most danger is related to the concentrated retinol-based skincare, rich in retinol itself, or retinoic acid, or retinaldehyde. All the other forms of retinol, they are much gentler. So they are not so dangerous, and sometimes, very probably, they are not dangerous at all. But if you have some skincare product with retinoic acid or retinaldehyde, you should stop it to use it immediately as soon as you know about the pregnancy, or you can stop it in the period of the preparation or pregnancy planning. And it is probably the most important thing about the skincare, so you should be careful about the retinol. What else can be potentially unsafe during the pregnancy? Another ingredient which is not recommended to use is salicylic acid. Salicylic acid is used mostly for the acne management in different kind of exfoliation for the acne-prone skin, cleanser for the acne skin. Very often they enriched with salicylic acid, or even some moisturizer, or some anti-acne active treatment serum or other products. Why we don't recommend to use this? Salicylic acid is potentially toxic. So it's very much depends on of how many of products you apply on the skin, how high is the concentration of the salicylic acid of the product, and most importantly, the skin surface you cover with this product. Because if you're exposed to the salicylic acid in a higher amount, that's a higher risk to develop toxic reaction. First danger, there are products with salicylic acid designed for the body care. So most of them, they are treatment for the body acne. So that's the first thing you should check out when you know about the pregnancy. Also, it is not recommended to use salicylic acid-based skincare on the daily basis, even if addressing only the face and neck area. Still, it's not 100% safe. So you just stop to use them, and you can replace it by other anti-acne solution. And also it is important, do not expose the newborn baby and the baby, especially in the first year of their life, to the salicylic acid-based skincare. as well. I hope no one does it, but it can happen hazardly, so you should be careful. When we exclude the salicylic acid, logically, we can suppose that we can replace salicylic acid, but any other acids, right? But actually, salicylic acid, it's not even the acid, properly speaking. It's not very similar to hydroxy acids we use for different purposes in the skincare. Salicylic acid, it is phenolic compound. That's why it is potentially toxic. Hydroxy acids such as glycolic acid, pyruvic, citric, azelaic, kojic acid, or lactic acid, they are different molecules. They are called alpha hydroxy acid, and they are not toxic. That's no danger of toxicity in the skin. Still, it is a very active discussion about the potential safety of glycolic acid use during the pregnancy time, especially about the use of chemical peels during the pregnancy time. Why it can be potentially unsafe? Because it can be highly sensitizing for the skin. So it can put you in the higher danger of the ultraviolet damage of the skin when you're exposed to the sun rays. But also, glycolic acid is very small molecules. It penetrates into the skin very actively. And during the pregnancy, especially starting the second trimester of the pregnancy, the skin became more permeable. So glycolic skin will penetrate into the skin even more actively and act more intensely on the skin. So it can lead to the danger of the overexfoliation, inflammation, redness, potential damage of the skin barrier. And in the same time, it's also during the pregnancy, the skin is already in the higher risk of the hyperpigmentation. Why? Because hormones of the pregnancy, estrogens, they are pigmentation hormones. They are activating the synthesis of the melanin. That's why during the pregnancy, about 70% of women, they develop so-called pregnancy mask. It is a type of chloasma or melasma on the face, symmetrical, located in the mid part of the face or sometimes in the forehead as well. If you are using some alpha hydroxy acids, and in the first place is glycolic acid, which is the most active form of the acid, you increase the risk of the hyperpigmentation even more. So it comes to 100% of probability for developing the pregnancy mask. Also, it can lead to inflammation changes on the skin because the microbiome has some challenges during the pregnancy because of the fluctuations. So, shortly speaking, it's not good for your skin. Also, during the pregnancy, estrogens, they are stimulating naturally the skin renewal, and that's a well-known phenomenon of pregnancy glow of the skin. Also related to not only better level of the moisturization or higher synthesis of skin lipids, which protects your skin better. So dry skin is never dry during the pregnancy. It became better nourished and better hydrated, but also to the slightly faster skin renewal and better proliferation and differentiation of skin cells in the superficial skin. So first of all, you don't need acids during the pregnancy because it's no need to stimulate exfoliation additionally and no need to stimulate the skin renewal cycle. And also it can be more sensitizing and can provoke the hyperpigmentation in the skin. Acids, they are used mostly as a whitening and brightening skin solution, as well as hydroquinone, which for long years it has been the gold standards of the skin whitening. Nowadays, hydroquinone is in the European Union, and it is by over-the-counter use by FDA in the United States of America. So, as you can probably guess, then hydroquinone is not the most safe ingredients in the world. And yes, it is toxic for the skin. It's really damaging the cell structure. It can lead to the irreversible damage of the pigment cells, putting the skin in the danger to the ultraviolet and reducing and even eliminating the natural skin protection against the ultraviolet. That's why it was banned in the first place, because it's related also to the higher risk of the cancer development in the skin. It is not potentially unsafe for the baby, but it is unsafe for the skin during the pregnancy period as well as out of pregnancy. So you should not use it. And in some country, hydroquinone-based solutions, they're still on the shelf. Please be careful, especially during the pregnancy. You should not use whitening or brightening hydroquinone skin solutions. Also, that's another skin whitening ingredient called Hydroxy, which is popular. And as I can see, it becomes even more popular, especially in affordable skincare range. And it's used mostly for the skin whitening, but sometimes it's advertised like anti-wrinkle skincare or universal skin anti-age skincare. I even seen the neck cream based on the Hydroxy. I don't know why the formulation was designed with Hydroxy and named the neck cream, but still, it exists. So please read the label, and if you see Hydroxy among the ingredient, you should know that you should stop to use it, because the Resorcinol and Hydroxy, they are both potentially toxic for women and baby, and they both have potential systemic absorption possibilities. So they can be absorbed into the bloodstream and they can affect other organ and tissue, have this systemic action. It's not potentially unsafe as retinol, but still should not be used during the pregnancy. And the big category of potentially unsafe ingredients are essential oils. It seems so nice, right, to use the organic natural skincare with essential oils derived from plants, but it is not perfectly safe. Essential oils are very complicated substances. It's the blend of everything you can imagine except for oils. The paradox in essential oils doesn't contain oils itself. It is a blend of low molecular substances with a higher volatility. That's how we feel this aroma. And we feel the aroma because a part of essential oils, molecules called odorivectors, they can be absorbed into the mucus of our nose and interact with nervous cells, transferring this information to our brain, which convert it to the impression of aroma. Yes, it can be very pleasant. But as you can understand, all these compounds are very small. And small compounds are easier penetrate into the bloodstream. Essential oils, being natural and being very difficult to standardize, because each essential oil is literally the blend of hundreds and hundreds low molecular substances. And sometimes we don't even understand properly what kind of ethers or alcohols, terpenes are circulating in the same oil. Also, they are very versatile because everything affects the chemical formulation of the oil. The amount of sunny days during the year, the amount of rains which plants being exposed. So it's not standardized at all. And all these low molecular substances, they can potentially penetrate into your bloodstream when you apply it on the skin. And we don't know how it will behave. We don't know the effects of oil. Some oils, like oil of the mint, as well as camphor, which is not an essential oil, but still the low molecular substances, can be potentially stimulating for the womb. So they call this uterotonifying compounds. So especially the mint essential oils should not be used during the third trimester of the pregnancy because it can increase the risk of premature baby birth. But about other essential oils, we just have no rules. We're just not sure. So for me as a doctor, it's safer to avoid the use of essential oil in the skincare during the pregnancy than to ask this question if this oil is safe or not. And actually, skincare during the pregnancy time can be very comfortable. All you should limit and avoid the retinol, acids, salicylic and alpha hydroxy acids. You should avoid to use Resorcinol and hydroquinone, and please avoid to use essential oils just for some additional safety during the pregnancy time. The 5 rules, my 5 rules of the pregnancy skincare routine. It is first place, it should be always gentle cleansing with some gentle, nice cleanser in the ideal situation enriched with probiotics and prebiotics, which can be calming for the skin because during the pregnancy, the skin is sensitive. Also, I would always recommend to use some antioxidant skincare during the pregnancy time because your skin is exposed to the ultraviolet. You are in the higher risk of the hyperpigmentation because of hormones. So it's always better to add this layer of the antioxidant protection, which helps to decrease photosensitivity of the skin. Also, during the pregnancy time, the skin can be prone to the hyperactive synthesis of sebum. I will recommend to use mattifying, sebum-controlling skincare for everyone who has a hyperactive sebum glands. But be careful, because retinol is one of the most popular active ingredients in the anti-acne skincare and the oily skincare. So I will go for retinol alternative skincare, such as avocutine derived from the avocado, bioflavonoids from maclura stem cells, some other retinol alternative skincare, and also anti-inflammatory plant extract, mattifying ingredients derived from natural sources. For example, green tea extract. Aloe vera is good for the oily skin during the pregnancy. So you can always find a safe solution. If you feel like you start to develop pregnancy mask, it can be the right time to use safe brightening solution. During the pregnancy, they cannot be based on the retinol and hydroquinone, as I mentioned previously. But you can use skincare based on the licorice extract, resveratrol, some brightening and whitening peptides. Now we have at least 10 of brightening peptides used in the brightening skincare solution, and all of them, they're perfectly safe during the pregnancy. And for example, 2 of my favorites, melanostatin and Pure White X50, and also some anti-inflammatory peptides like Skinosensio, Calmosensin, can keep to control the inflammation in the skin, calm down the skin, and decrease the risk of the hyperpigmentation as well. And also, I always recommend to use moisturizing mask and mask during the pregnancy, especially if your skin has a tendency for the redness. You can use mask designed for the redness treatment. But once again, pay attention to the label. But there are a lot of plant-derived extract and also peptides and probiotics and prebiotics. Moisturizing ingredients such as hyaluronic acid, carrageenan, glycerin, algae extract, which are perfectly safe to use during the pregnancy and helping you to keep the skin under control. As the demography of the pregnancy changed a lot in the last year, and actually I have my personal experience about it as well. When my son was born, I was 24 years old, and I was the oldest mother in the maternity wing in the hospital. But when my daughter was born, I was maybe 41, and I was the youngest one in the French maternity wing. So it's literally changed during one generation. And obviously, when we've had our babies in our early 20s, we did not worry about wrinkles or any age-related changes. Now, when the average age of the first baby being born in 35, 37 years in women in Great Britain, for example, they're worried about wrinkles. They're worried about age-related changes. And very probably they've been using some anti-aging solution, including anti-aging solution based on the retinol and other potentially harmful substances. So, what can we do in this area in the pregnancy period? There are a lot of women who feel really worried about their inability to get anti-wrinkles injections or laser therapy or some aesthetic procedures during the pregnancy period because it seems quite long, 9 months. But I have no good news in this domain because, yes, botulinum toxin injections are formally forbidden to use during the pregnancy time because of the insufficient scientific proof of the safety of botulinum toxin injections, and also because botulinum toxin can be absorbed systemically. There are few cases, but they exist. So please do not look for practitioners who offer Botox or Dysport or any kind of botulinum toxin injectables to everyone, because it can be unsafe for your health and for the baby. Speaking about hyaluronic acid-based injections, there's no potential danger of systemic absorption, so at least we can be sure they are not dangerous for the baby because they stay topical. And when hyaluronic acid is injected in the wrinkles, it stays in the wrinkles. But it's a higher danger to develop side effects, such as granuloma or inflammation or different kind of unwanted effect after injectables. Because in the pregnancy, skin is changing so much, and hormonal influence can be so potent and so powerful, then sometimes injections can be overcorrecting, sometimes not correcting enough. So it's very unpredictable. And that's one of the main reasons why fillers are not recommended to use during the pregnancy. Also, once again, no one tested wrinkles fillers on the pregnant women. So we do not have enough of database about their safety. All kinds of energy-assisted procedures such as radiofrequency, laser therapy, ultrasound therapy for aesthetic purposes is not recommended during the pregnancy time as well. And chemical pills, once again, that's a discussion about the use of the acids, but as I mentioned previously, they are not recommended as well. So I recommend to stay away of this all energy-assisted therapy, including microcurrent therapy. Probably one device that's still possible to use during the pregnancy, it is light therapy with blue light, mostly to calm down the skin. All the rest, please stay away. And we have some alternative solution, especially for the wrinkles treatment. Medical grade, efficient skincare based on peptides can help you a lot. And for sure, we have peptide-based solution able to relax the skin and to diminish wrinkles visibly and to prevent their apparition during the pregnancy time. So, stay safe, enjoy this beautiful period of your life, and know that there are few limitations in the skincare. But once you know about your pregnancy or once you're planning pregnancy, I hope you will listen to this episode of podcast or read the blog articles on our website. And so please feel free to ask any questions and comments. I will check them regularly, especially for this episode, to help answer your questions so you feel safe and happier. Thank you for joining us today on the Mother Beauty podcast. If you found this helpful, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an expert skincare tip. Have a question or topic you'd like for me to cover? Send me a message at podcast@motherbeauty.com and let's keep the conversation going. Also, you can visit motherbeauty.com and discover Mother Skincare, which I created. And if you enjoyed the show, I'd love if you left a review. It helps others find the podcast and keeps us growing. Until next time, stay healthy, stay glowing, and take care of your skin.